When I hit the bottom of the stairs, the humans were cowering in the center of the room. The huddled, blood-stained captive sat in tattered clothing inside a makeshift pen that had been made by stacking tables end on end. The whole thing could have been knocked down by a child, but it wasn't the rickety walls that kept them there. No, it was the 7 vamps that burst out of the rooms on the far wall to converge on me. They were young, but still fast, and it only took a second or two for them to get in range. My right fist was already raised overhead, and when I said the trigger word to my spell, the lot of them were arranged in a neat semicircle in front of me. "Solus!" I said, opening my hand so the magically stored sunlight could pour forth and fill the room. When the light hit the vampires, they immediately began to burn and crisp, even as they continued their intended line of travel to where I stood. Fresh young vamps seemed to be more resistant to instant immolation, but they also had less overall resistance to UV rays or whatever the hell it was in sunlight that killed them. 5 collapsed in shriveled heaps halfway across the large room, while the other 2 remained mostly intact. The 2 smoldering corpses moved at speed, screaming in agony that locked their brains up, keeping them from changing course. I sidestepped the one on the right, using Fomorian speed to avoid colliding with it as I lopped off its head with a horizontal forehand cut at neck level. Using the momentum of the blade, I pivoted on my front foot while swinging the sword in a tight overhead arc. Carrying that motion through until I'd pivoted 180 degrees, I stepped forward in time to catch the last vamp as it bounced off the wall, cutting it in half with a powerful overhead swipe that split it from the base of its neck to its left hip. Gara waited on the stairs, scanning the room with eyes that were much better at seeing in the dark than mine. I kicked the smoking corpse in front of me, ignoring the cries of the humans behind me as I examined the remains of the vamp I just cut down. Huh. Must not have been as old as I— "Look out!" Gara cried, pointing over my shoulder. There was no way he could have intervened, because I was directly between him and the vamp that struck me from behind. Something struck me between the shoulder blades with jackhammer force. Then I flew through the air toward the wall next to the stairwell. My sword flew out of my hands, and I crashed into the concrete wall with a sickening crunch.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.